Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Etchr mini workshop preview. Let us know where you're watching from. We would love to see who's here. And Etchr is a online art learning platform, and we work with artists from all around the world. So yeah, let us know where you're from. Let's see, we have people from all over the world here too. Let's see, Austria, Canada, Argentina, Netherlands. See, Georgia, Canada, Ontario, see, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Mexico, London. Awesome. North Carolina, France, Ohio. Welcome, fellow Ohioan. All right, well, it's obvious people can see us and hear us, so let's go ahead and get started. Today we are here with Andreea Nye, who's going to be showing us how she does wildlife in watercolor. So if you have questions for Andreea, please put it in the chat in all capital letters so that I can see it better. And if the question is relevant to what she's doing at the moment, I will ask at that time. If not, I might hold off some of those questions until the end when we do our question and answer session. And just so you know, we do have a Facebook group for people who've done our workshops and our demos. So if you would like to share your work, you can post it there and ask for feedback if you'd like. And Andrea is part of that group as well, so she can give you some feedback as well. So I'm going to put that link into the chat in just a moment. And oh, there's a question in the chat already. Is there a sketch? There is not a sketch as far as line work goes today, but I do have a reference photo for you, which I'm going to put into the chat right now. There you go. And so you can watch that as you follow along. And so from here, I'm just going to hand it over to Andrea, who will let you know more about what we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Andreea Nye. I am a watercolor artist from Romania, but I'm actually living in the Netherlands. And I do paint a lot of animals, cityscapes, portraits, floral. I do a lot of things. And all my paintings are colorful and full of splatters and splashes. So what I want to show you today is how to paint this parrot in a very loose watercolor technique, because this is something that I use this technique in all my artworks, and I think it's something that is very good to know if you want to learn how to paint with watercolor. It's something specific for watercolors. Yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can of course ask me, and otherwise we can just start, I guess.
Great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I will switch to my top camera so that you can see my desk. And first I will just show you very fast what supplies I'm going to use today, and then we can start painting. Okay, I'll just switch to my top camera now. Yeah, you should be able to see my desk. I hope it's all right.
Yep, we can see it.
Nice. Okay, so I have this line drawing. I already drew it because this saves some time. And let's check the supplies very quickly. So I'm using cotton paper. It's A4 size or 9 by 12 inches. And I do use a board to tape my paper to. Oh, sorry, it's a bit, yeah. I always tape my paper to the board because as I said, I paint in a very loose watercolor style with a lot of water. So I really want my paper to be perfectly taped. And this way I can avoid these buckles. Then watercolor paints. I have here several colors. It's really not very, it's not important to use the same colors as I do. Just use the colors you have. I mean, we are painting a parrot. It's okay. You can use different types of blues and greens and reds. I'm going to use these brushes. So This is a mop brush or a quill brush that it's synthetic, but it's very soft. It holds a lot of water. This is very nice for making splatters and painting in a loose style. This is natural hair brush. Same, it holds a lot of water. It has a very pointy tip. And for this workshop, I'm also going to use, I just received the brushes from Etchr. They're synthetic hair. So these are very good. They are very pointy. So I'm going to use them for details because they're synthetic. They don't hold a lot of water, so they're great for details. And of course, I need something to mix the colors. I will use this part of the palette. And I'm also going to use some black liners. This is also something I use a lot in my paintings. So I have here different sizes, and very importantly, they are waterproof. So this is very important for me because I use a lot of water, so I don't want them to to mix with water. I want them to be waterproof. And then some paper towels. I always have them around. Water, of course. I use this small spray to activate my colors. And I will also have a hair dryer because I want to speed up the drying process. So I usually have it close to my desk, and I will use it later during the workshop. Yeah, so I think this is it about supplies. I don't want to go into details, but if you have questions, we can discuss them maybe in the end. So I guess we can start. Yeah, I have my reference photo. I'll have it in front of me, but I guess you also received it if you want to use it. Very important, this your painting will look probably completely different from mine, but this is totally fine. Don't worry. Even if I try to copy, let's say, one of my paintings, it will not look the same the second time I draw it. So really, don't worry. If it will look different, it's it's normal. So I usually start from top to bottom, and as a roll from left to right because I'm right-handed. And yes, I don't want to touch the freshly painted area with my hand. So I will just apply some water now here in his head, and I will start with a green on one side. This is, I think it's called Hooker's Green from Rembrandt. I think it's from Rembrandt. And it's a very vibrant type of green. It's a very strong color. And it's very fresh. I really like it. And I'm going to use a bit of blue. This one is ultramarine. And I will just mix them with my clean brush. So this is the first layer, and I'm not, I don't care too much about details and making sure that all these lines are sharp, because the first layer is just about adding light and shadow and the main colors. So I'll just apply water in this area. You can see it here. And his body it's orange, but very often I don't really use orange. I use yellow, and then I add the red, because if you mix yellow and red, you have orange. And this technique is called wet on wet. So I just had my paper wet first, and then I applied pigment mixed with water. So they just mix on the paper. As I said, I'm using this a lot, so I usually keep them in my left hand. And here I have a darker area, so I'm going to add a little bit of Payne's Gray. This is, this I think is the one from Winsor & Newton I'm using, but you can have from other brands, of course. And this is a very dark blue. Well, it's called Payne's Gray, but the one I'm using, has a blue shade. And I really like it. I really, really like it. I think I use it in all my illustrations because it's dark, but it's not black, so it's not as intense as black. Yeah. So I am done with the body. I have to move quite fast because this wet on wet technique has to be painted, of course, on a wet area. And if I take too much time, then it will dry and the effect will be different. This is ultramarine again. I'm adding a bit of water here. And I'm also going to add a bit of cobalt blue. So as you see, I have the wet area, I added just water, and then I started adding pigments. But I think it's very important just not to think too much, you know, just to apply water and color and not be afraid of the result. Because if you look confident with watercolor, most of the time it will look great in the end. So just don't be afraid. Okay. All right. I think I went a bit over the top here, but all right. Now I'm adding, because this is in the back, so this area is in the shadow, right? It's underneath. So it will be a bit darker. Look here, because this area started to dry. What I was telling you before, if it dries, the effect will be different. So this area started to dry. Then I painted this area with a lot of water, but one of the splatters was touching the area that was starting to dry. So now I have this sort of effect. It's not a mistake, but as I said, it's a different effect. So I think it's something good to know. And this is the branch. That is brown. This is burnt sienna. It's a warm brown. Now I have a lot of water on my table, so if you paint in this kind of loose technique, I suggest you try to protect your table with something or your surroundings. I actually just discovered yesterday that I'm in front of a window, and I just discovered I have splatters on my curtains, blue splatters. So yeah,
I decorated them.
Yeah, I actually lost my deposit on an apartment because of the splatters I had on my walls. Well, it's okay. Okay, so I added some blue splatter, some yellow splatters, sorry, on top of the wings because the area is still very wet. So I wanted to add these splatters while the area was wet, so that the yellow pigment just blurs into this blue and green area. So as long as the area is still wet, you can apply more colors and they will mix nicely. If the area starts drying, as I said, you will have a different effect. Yeah, so I'll just remove these splatters. If you are fast with the towel, you can just remove these splatters just like this. It's quite easy and it won't leave a mark. If it starts drying, then it's a bit harder to remove them. Okay, let's see. I usually add more colors if the paper is still wet, and I can do that. But I think for now I will just stop. This is actually another blue. I don't really think about the colors I'm using. If, for instance, now I feel like adding a color that is a bit more like turquoise. So I just added, I think it's aqua green. Yeah. All right. I think this is it for now. I will use the hair dryer to speed up the drying process. And then I will start adding the details. So I will just mute my microphone a little bit, and then I will come back once I have this one dried out. So I'll mute my microphone now.
And everyone, if you decide to play with this later, we would love to see what you've done. So I am putting the tags for both Andreea and for Etchr into the chat for when you share on Instagram. And as I mentioned before, we have a private Facebook group where you can also post for the sake of sharing, or if you want some feedback from your peers and from Andreea, just make sure that you request that feedback so we know that it's welcome. It's kind of fun watching those colors soften up as it dries.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, so this is how it looks now. This is the first layer. So as you can see, it doesn't have any details or anything. But it's quite nice how the colors mix together here. It's very fluid. Okay, so now I can start adding the details. I will start with his face. So as I said, I'm using these liners. I will probably use a smaller one, maybe 0. I took it out, 02, to draw his eyes, so the face details. And he has this sort of wrinkles here around the eyes. Maybe I can lower my camera a bit, right? I will rearrange my desk a bit, don't worry. Yeah, I think this works better for you, right?
Yep, that's closer. We can see better now.
Yes, because now it's more about details, so. You can also pick a bigger size for these liners, but this is also fine. But if you are going to follow this technique, you really have to make sure that your liners are waterproof. And if you're not sure, you can just test it with water on another paper. Okay. Yeah, this is good enough for now. And for the face, you can, if you don't have black, because for instance, if you use these small watercolor sets, and if you don't have black, you can mix dark blue with dark brown and you get some sort of black. So this is a trick. Now I will just use black color, but if you don't have it, this is how you can get to some sort of black. So dark blue with dark brown. Okay. So now I'm just adding the details for his beak here. This is, so I added the darker shadow on this side, but now I'm just adding water to make it more blurry. Sorry, more transparent. And I will use the same here. I use this technique quite a lot, this sort of gradient technique, because I don't want to have just a plain color. I want to have different shades. I think this makes the painting a bit more rich. All right. And now I'm also going to add a bit more contrast where I feel like it's needed. So for instance, here, closer to his head, I want to make this area a bit more green. And here as well to give more contrast. So I start with water with a lot of pigment. I clean my brush. And then I just drag this pigment onto the right side. No, sorry, I forgot to say that I switched to the smaller brush. Usually, the first layer I paint it with a bigger brush that has soft hair because it holds a lot of water. And then I switch to a brush that is a bit more precise, either just with a pointy tip. For instance, this one is round brush number 4. But it has a very pointy tip and it's also very soft. And when I have to make very detailed paintings, then I switch to one that is synthetic, it has synthetic fibers. Okay. So here I'm just going to suggest some feathers. I don't want to be very precise or to make a very detailed painting because that's not really the point, but I want to suggest these directions of the feathers.
And Andrea, you are just glazing now, right? Putting wet on dry?
Yes, exactly. So this technique is called wet on dry. because I'm just using my pigment mixed with water on top of a surface that it's already dry, because I just dried it with the hair dryer. So everything was dry, yeah.
And pretty much it's just a repeat of the colors that you used before. Is that correct?
Exactly,
Just
exactly.
Okay, great.
I'm just intensifying the shades a bit, because in the first layer, when you add a lot of water, and then it dries out, the colors might be a bit faded. So you can either just add more pigment, or what I do, I normally like to adjust this intensity in the second layer. Okay, what I want to do now, I want to switch to my synthetic detail brush. This is a small one, is number 1, to add some details here for his feet. And what I also do a lot with the synthetic brushes, this is sepia color, dark brown. I do like to give some texture to my paintings. So for instance, this is a branch or a tree, or yeah. It has a specific texture, right? The skin of the tree. So what I like to do is, for instance, I like to take my synthetic brush and do this kind of textures. So I use the length of the brush, basically, and I can have this kind of texture because the synthetic brushes, they don't hold a lot of water. So then if the paper is also has a more rough texture, it also works with cold pressed, I get this texture. Yeah, so I do use this trick quite a lot in my illustrations. I can also switch to a bit of a bigger brush, also synthetic, to use the same trick for the feathers. So I do use this technique for trees, for instance, when I want to show the skin of the tree, or for animals, I use it a lot because animals have fur or feathers, and I think it also works nicely. Or yeah, sometimes even for botanicals. This is the same green. And I think I'll also use it with red here. And I think what also helps a lot when you paint, but this is a general rule, let's say, when you think you're ready, just make a step backwards and look at your painting and see what else you can change or adjust. Now in my case, I have my camera, so I see it on my screen. But when I don't paint, when I don't record my paintings, I just like to put my painting on like vertically, take a step backwards, and then you have a very different perspective over your drawing. So this, at least for me, it works pretty well. All right. Let's see. I think I'll make some small details here to show some sort of shadow. Okay. Are you ready for the fun part now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to take this bigger brush. This is number 2 quill brush. Is the one that I was using in the beginning. And I'm going to make the splatters. Now, for animals, I add quite a lot, sometimes maybe a bit too many, but it's really fun, so sometimes I don't know when to stop. Yeah, and the way I do these splatters, I always make splatters with the same color. So for instance, if I have a yellow area here, I'm gonna make yellow splatters. If I have blue area here, I'm gonna apply blue splatters. I do this because even splatters are chaotic enough, right? So I don't want to overdo it. And the way I make these splatters, I usually I load my brush with water, and then I take pigment, and then I hold my brush like this and I just tap it. If they are very intense, it means that you don't have a lot of water. So it depends what you want to get, what results you want to get. You can also add more water, and now the splatters will be more faded. And you can do the same with green and then with blues. But having either a natural hair brush or a brush that has very soft hair and it holds a lot of water helps a lot. If you try, for instance, with these ones are very good for details because they don't hold too much water. They are not really good for splatters. So it's important to have this softer brush. And yeah, now the blue ones. What I know, if you are going to do this at home, please try to use something on top, like a mini tent, where you where you hide. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not sure what to say about your walls and desk. And yeah, you should see my laptop. Yeah. All right.
Do you ever end up looking into the mirror and seeing that your face has splatters on it too?
Yeah. But for now, you'll probably see it after I switch the camera. Yeah. Yeah, I think I got used to it. After a while, you don't see them anymore.
So when you were saying that in areas that are red, you want to put some red splatters and blue on the blue, does that just take some practice to be a little bit more precise with that?
No, you cannot be very precise. If you want to be more precise, what you can do is, let's say, if you want to aim a bit better, you just go a bit like closer to the paper. So if you're closer to the paper, then the splatters won't go very far in any direction. So you just place your brush maybe 2-3 centimeters away from the paper, and then you apply these splatters like this.
I see. Yeah,
now I probably overdid it a bit, but I just wanted also to show you how I do it. All right. What I normally do, I use my brush to collect some of the water from here. But you can also use your towel, so it depends what works best for you. I'm quickly going to use my hair dryer again, just to dry it a little bit, and then I will add some black liners. So I'll mute my microphone just 1 minute.
Great. And everyone, we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a bit, but if you want to learn some more from Andreea, she has a 90-minute mini workshop coming up on Wednesday, April 6th at 10 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, where you'll get to delve a lot deeper into these techniques that she's teaching you. And it is a step-by-step tutorial. And if you can't attend live, then you can watch the recording later as well. And it's also a really wonderful way to support Andreea and her work. And in a little bit, she's going to tell you more about what she's going to be teaching you in that workshop.
All right. So I
Andrea,
didn't try it Yes.
there's a great comment in the chat saying, why did this even pop up in my recommendation? I don't even draw or paint, but I'm suddenly interested in watercolor painting now. Good job.
Wow,
Yay.
that's great. Cool. That's nice.
Right?
Yeah. So, well, I didn't try it completely because this takes a while, so I don't want to, yeah, to to become very boring with the drying process. But what I wanted to tell you that if it dries completely, you can, or what I normally do, I do a last layer of details. So, for instance, I add some black liners here and there where I feel like it's necessary. I'll choose one that is a bit bigger so that you can see it better. This is like a brush. Yeah. So I just add some details, and I also add them with white sometimes if I feel that the painting is a bit too dark. I can also add, for instance, some white splatters. And these ones, I normally do them with white gouache, but you can also do them with white watercolor. I will show you, for instance, here, I did some, you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same technique, just with white gouache or white watercolor and some small white splashes. But this depends if, I don't always do it, but yeah, there's this possibility as well. Yeah, so this is it. As you can see, it's quite different from this one, but as I said, it's normal, so they will always be different when you paint it the second time.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So this was it. It took a bit longer than I was counting on.
It's still a pretty quick process, though. This is really fun.
Yeah, what was it? 30 minutes? A bit less,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah, about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We have another funny comment in the chat saying, should I post my painting or the abstract splatters on my iPad white keyboard? Post them both. Post them both.
Yeah, I'm not going to show you my laptop or my keyboard. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the mini workshop and what you're going to be teaching us there.
Yeah, should I switch my camera or?
Well, can you put the painting or that example painting on the screen so we can see it?
For the next workshop, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, for the next workshop, we are going to paint the sea turtle.
Oh wow!
So we are going to another animal. I chose this one because I think it's a very good exercise for practicing the loose watercolor technique and also combining different colors. You see, we have the blues, but then we have the yellows and also some red areas and some darker areas, and also this gradient. So a bit what I was telling you here, this gradient from very dark to transparent. So this is also a mini exercise that is very good to know when you paint with watercolors. And of course, these splashes that we are going to go a bit maybe more into details about them and how I make these effects. Yeah.
The lines in his flipper, is that with masking fluid or is that gouache?
Yes, I did use masking fluid.
Oh, cool.
You can also use gouache. In my experience with masking fluid, the process is easier because with gouache you have to try to use without too much water, otherwise they won't be very, very white. They will catch a bit the color that is underneath. Yeah, but both ways can work. I did it with the masking fluid indeed.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
let's go
this
ahead
is
and
gonna
open up
be our, of
question and answers.
course.
So yeah, why don't you go, if anybody has questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. And again, the 90-minute class, the mini workshop, is on Wednesday, April 6th at 10 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And the recording will be available if you cannot attend live. So we have lots of comments in here saying thank you so much for this beautiful and fun demo. The word fun keeps coming up. This was so much fun, great result. Very sympathetic and joyful. Thank you. Inspirational.
Nice.
Yeah, the word fun just keeps coming up.
Yeah.
We need more fun in our lives right now, I think.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah.
There's a comment saying, my bird is very pudgy, but I love doing this.
Well, in the end, it's mostly about the process, and you have to have fun and to relax. That's the main point, right, of painting. And, yeah.
Okay, so we do have 2 questions in the chat. Is there a cost for the next workshop? Yes, you can buy the class individually for $7 by going to our website in the link that I posted. Or if you have a subscription already to our website, then you can just watch it as part of your subscription. If you don't have a subscription, but you would like to explore our website, we do have a 7-day free trial. So I'm going to once again put that link into the chat. And all you have to do is go to the website and take a look around there. And let's see. Will she teach these 2 paintings? So in the next workshop, she'll just be teaching the turtle. And because I think that'll be plenty to take up that 90 minutes. And let's see. Oh, and there was a comment saying that from Darlene saying, I have done classes with Andrea and she is very good. So,
thank you, Darlene.
There you got a little word of mouth for you. All right. So,
yeah.
All right. And also, everybody, I'm going to put a link for our feedback survey into the chat. We would love to hear what you thought about today's class so that we can keep bringing you content that you will enjoy. And also, once again, if you go ahead and do this demo, or if you have followed along, we would love to see what you've done. So I'm again putting the Instagram links into the chat and also our Facebook group where you can request feedback from your peers and also from Andrea.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, please do. I'm really curious to see your paintings.
Yeah. I want to see everybody's splatters and everything.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for me, it's always really fun to see what you're doing because, well, you see what I'm doing, but I'm also curious to see what you're doing. So.
And also, if you want to see what we have coming up live, that's coming up soon, you can go to the link that I just posted to see what's coming up, or you can just go to our website, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see a little section for upcoming live. And Andrea, why don't you bring your face back so we can say goodbye to everybody?
Yes, let me switch my camera. Okay. Now you should see me.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, I really had fun.
Yeah. I think that's word of the day, fun.
Yeah. And yeah, I hope I can see you for my next workshop.
Great. And we've got more comments saying, thank you for such a great art technique. And this was a wonderful way to start my day. Great.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So we do these free live demos several times a week. So please do subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you'll be updated when we go live. We also have our Make More Art podcast, product demonstrations, and much more. And to help Andrea a little bit too, go ahead and like this video. And we have a question for you to post into the comments under the video. So not the chat, but in the comment area. Let us know what kind of bird or other wildlife you would like to paint with this technique. And yeah, so thank you so much, Andrea. This has been really wonderful. And as everyone has said, tons of fun. And we really look forward to seeing you in the mini workshop. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And until we see you next time, make more art. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.